Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Amber Rose, also known as The Religious Hippie. You could basically follow me on any social media platform, or you can go straight to my website at thereligioushippie.com. So today is another continuation of the 7 Deadly Sins series. Today we're doing gluttony, which was highly requested by God's Little Flower 6303. So this one's for you. So before we get into today's episode, I really want to just run you guys through a quick reminder of what a mortal sin is, because I know I have a lot of scrupulous people following me, and I myself am scrupulous. My fiance is scrupulous. I get it. But I really want to make sure that I am clear on what a mortal sin is, because I know doing this series has kind of triggered a lot of people. They're like, oh my gosh, am I in mortal sin or am I not? They don't know. And it can be really disheartening. So these are the 3 requirements that make something a mortal sin. Number 1, the matter has to be grave. The thing that you are doing needs to be bad. The second thing is you need full consent. And the third thing is you need full knowledge. So let's just run through those again. Grave matter, full consent, which means you consent to doing it, you know it's bad, you do it anyways, and full knowledge that that thing is bad. So if one or more of those things is missing, it's a venial sin. It's not a mortal sin. Yes, you should still go to confession because it can really help, especially if you struggle with a habitual sin, but it's not a mortal sin. If all 3 of those things are present, then it is a mortal sin. But this is why it is so important to do a nightly examination of conscience. The Bulldog Catholic PDF is my favorite. I'll link it below in the description for you guys. But this is why it is so important, because we need to be made aware of our mistakes and things that we struggle with. And the only way we can do that is if we look back on our day and we reflect and do an examine. And maybe I'll do a video on that. But for now, let's get on with the video. Now, when people think of the term glutton, they think of some fat person gulping down a Big Mac or drinking a lot of Coke, or basically just America. People think of America. So there are a few different types, but for right now, we're just going to go over the food portion of it. Pun intended. Because yeah, the most common type of gluttony does involve food. Gluttony is the excessive desire for food where even if you're full, you still go out and seek out more food to eat. St. Thomas Aquinas said that there are 5 ways that gluttony can manifest in your life. Now he has some fancy words that go along with his. I'm just going to tell you guys what those fancy words mean, because let's just be honest, we don't know what some of those words mean these days. The first one is only wanting to eat at the most fanciest restaurants or consume the most fanciest foods. The second one is refusing to eat food that someone else has prepared for you because it's not up to your standard of taste or appearance. This could be your standard picky eater, or it could be someone who goes to a restaurant and constantly tells the waiter that there's something wrong with their food, even though they could still eat it. There's technically nothing wrong. The third one is eating too much food or drinking too much. The fourth one is eating hastily. And the fifth one is eating greedily, which means you don't want to share your food, you always want to be served first, etc. Now, St. Thomas Aquinas also talks about the 5 daughters of gluttony. These are those daughters. The dullness of the mind. This means when you eat too much or you drink too much, your senses become dulled and you're unable to think properly. False joy. This is where someone drinks so much to the point of joy, but it's not really them. It's the food or the alcohol or the drink that they've consumed too much of. Number 3 is talking too much. This usually goes for women more than it does men. But when we're eating food and we're drinking a lot, we sometimes lose sense of what we're speaking about, how we're speaking about somebody, because we're just so engulfed in what we're doing. Number 4 is similar to number 3, which is foolish talking. This is when you drink too much or eat too much and you start saying things that are unbecoming of you. Usually this involves gossiping. And number 5, being unclean. This is a little eating disorder disclaimer. Many people will purge, which is they'll eat a lot of food and then they'll throw it up so that they can consume more food. Others will simply throw up because the amount of food that they've ingested. So if you struggle with gluttony, or you're not sure if you struggle with gluttony, here are some questions that you can ask yourself to figure that out. Number 1, was I full? And if I was full, did I continue to eat anyways? Did I put more food on my plate than I can actually eat? A simple term for this is like, oh, my eyes are bigger than my stomach. I think we've all heard that phrase. Did I purposefully acquire more for myself even at the expense of others? This could be taking the last drumstick at a party. Basically, you acquire more for yourself than you need and you refuse to give to others. So those are the questions you can ask yourself. This has all pertained to food until now. Dun dun dun. Now we're going to talk about what everyone's been dreading. Gluttony revolving around the phones and technology. Does this sound familiar? You're scrolling through social media. You're clearly overstimulated, but instead of putting your phone down, taking a break, reading a book, going for a walk, you continue to scroll anyways. Maybe your phone says you've been on it for 5+ hours, or maybe you've been binge watching TV for the last 4 hours. All of these are forms of gluttony. And we know the virtue that combats gluttony is temperance. The Catechism of the Catholic Church, 1809 states, "Temperance is the moral virtue that moderates the attraction of pleasures and provides balance in the use of created goods. It ensures the will's mastery over instincts and keeps desires within the limits of what is honorable." In other words, temperance is just a healthy balance of things. But I want to remind you guys that this is not a mortal sin unless it's actually impacting your life horribly. We all slip up here and there. I've binge watched a couple TV shows, or I've scrolled on social media for like an hour and a half just binging. It happens, but when it becomes a regular thing, that's when it becomes habitual, and it can lead to a mortal sin if it really starts impacting our lives and our loved ones. Can anyone guess what my number one advice is going to be for this? That's right, confession. Bet you didn't see that coming. Go to confession. Just like I've said in every single one of these series so far, confession is going to be your first line of defense against Satan and his minions. Being in a state of grace is the only way that we can fight back against Satan and gain some battleground. Receive the sacraments regularly. Go to confession, receive Jesus Christ truly present in the Eucharist in a state of grace. Go to Mass every single Sunday and try to go more often during the week as well. Some other ways that you can combat gluttony is that you can start fasting. This is not just something we do during Lent, and I know since Vatican II, they no longer require that we fast or abstain from meat every single Friday of the year. Although it is still a penitential day and we still should be doing penances of some type, I think the best form of penance is abstaining from meat. Who doesn't love meat? I guess vegans don't like meat. I fast and abstain every Friday, and I think everyone else should be doing this as well. Now, if you want to do a bread and water fast, that is totally up to you, but please be careful. If you have an eating disorder, do not try and attempt this. And if you do have an eating disorder where fasting from food and abstaining from meat is going to trigger you, please fast and abstain from something else, like social media, hot water, something like that. And for those who do want to observe the fasting and abstinence rules, it's 2 small snacks when put together does not equal a full meal, and then 1 full meal that does not have meat. Something you can also start doing is denying yourself little pleasures in life. Because our society has gotten us used to instant gratification, we're so used to just getting whatever we want whenever we want, and we've become very comfortable with pleasure. Because of this, we actually have to seek out suffering these days, even though suffering is also running rampant in our world today. But you know what I mean. So start denying yourself things that you would normally have, or little pleasures. Let's say that you are going to Starbucks again for your 3rd pumpkin spice latte for today. Don't do it. Drink some water. Your organs need it. Let's say you go to Honey Fluff Donuts every single Wednesday because it's your little midweek treat. Don't do it. Deny yourself specific things that your body wants in that moment. For me, that tends to be Dunkin' iced coffee. Learn how to cook healthy meals. I think we all know nowadays that the food that is out there is not good for you. It's full of hormones and seed oils and fillers, and it's disgusting. And no wonder we have such an issue these days with feeling satiated when we eat. It's because we're not eating real food. Learn how to cook real food. Do not keep junk food in the house, and start a workout regimen. This doesn't have to be very difficult. It could be as simple as a 15-minute walk. Learn that less is more. Eat, drink, and use your technology with intention and responsibility. I'm going to leave you with a quote from 1 Corinthians 3:16-17. Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy him. For God's temple is holy, and you are that temple. Remember that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and God gave us our bodies so that we can glorify Him through them. So take care of yourself. It's what God wants. With all of that being said, guys, I hope you learned something, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!